Silence and Star Song had a question. How does one do a man versus church in a sort of man versus God, man versus reality, man versus society kind of way, without going like church bad? And it's kind of it is subtle because you have to, one, make sure that the church people are still sympathetic, but also make sure that how do I want to put it? The problem isn't such that the sympathy isn't lost by nobody doing anything about it, right? So, like, you can make a church, man versus church sort of thing. Martin Luther, for example, is a good real life example where you had sort of sympathetic reasoning. Not everyone in the Catholic Church was fundamentally, for the indulgences and were trying to actually be good priests and so on and so forth. But also, the problem is that the leadership power was, of course, corrupt and pulling money from good people, so that they would get out of purgatory sooner. And that's the most charitable option I can give them. It's difficult to sort of, do it in the modern times because the church is so ineffectual. And I don't just mean Catholic Church, I mean the church is in the institution, in the general sense for society. So, like, with stuff like, let's say there's a werewolf, right? And the church people are scared of the werewolf, but also of what will happen. So, like, the church is, like, let's say that someone in leadership is the werewolf, right? So not only do you have a level of, someone within the church hierarchy is evil as a werewolf, not as a Dracula or something, because that just wouldn't work. But it's, but then you can have your protagonist fight against the church power, quote unquote, which is kind of society's power against him, but then also fight a werewolf in a burning church, which is going to be pretty rad. But point is that that's a way to make the church people sympathetic, the church sympathetic because it's being corrupted rather than being evil for its own sake, and then also have a villain that he can fight.